Jane Austen is one of the most widely read and beloved writers in English literature. By some, her novels are still considered a staple of reading for young women. The main theme in Austen's books is courtship and marriage. Her stories imply that love and marriage has a happy romantic ending. But what if it doesn't? Consider that together you fell in love, and of course you thought you would live happily ever after. As the bride and groom, you each view marriage as a loving contract between two people who want to spend the rest of their lives together. However, in the eyes of the law, although marriage is a contract between two people, it's not one about love, but rather about a variety of financial rights and obligations. Therefore, it seems only reasonable and prudent to weigh the significant legal and financial obligations against the high rate of divorce. You really can't blame people who are planning on marrying for viewing marriage in a more business-like fashion. Although you may not see a prenuptial agreement as a well-planned exit strategy or evidence of a lack of faith in a relationship, this may be exactly how your fiancé sees it. You may believe that a prenuptial agreement is simply protection against an unlikely and unforeseen what-if event, in other words, an important insurance policy. It's this difference in perspective that makes talking with your fiancé about a prenuptial necessary. So what is a prenup and how does it work? I believe a prenuptial agreement is a smart financial estate planning tool. First, you don't have to be a Rockefeller to need a premarital agreement. A person who has managed to put together some savings and build equity in a home is understandably protective of this nest egg. It takes a lot of hard work to accumulate assets. Therefore, people often anxiously guard their assets, which in a divorce become the target of a bitter and acrimonious court battle. The definition of a prenuptial agreement is simple. It's a contract between two people about to wed. The agreement spells out how assets will be distributed in the event of divorce. In fact, did you know that the state in which people marry already provides them with a set of rules? It's called the divorce law. However, many people are unhappy with not only the way divorce law works, but also their lack of control in the process. Some people prefer to take control of their lives rather than leave it in the hands of the court. This is where preparing a customized prenup makes a lot of sense. Believe it or not, such agreements have existed for hundreds, if not thousands of years in some form or another, particularly in older civilizations, where families have always made provisions for protecting their wealth. In the U.S. during the 19th century, before the Married Women's Property Act of 1848, nuptial agreements were necessary for women. Until the act became law, everything a woman owned or inherited was transferred to her husband. If he died or divorced her, she could lose everything. The purpose of a prenuptial agreement is to remove the emotion and provide some certainty. In other words, think of a marriage and a prenup as a business arrangement. I say this because marriage is not just an emotional and physical union, but also a financial union. In fact, a fair prenuptial agreement accompanied by open and frank discussion can help ensure the financial well-being of the marriage. A discussion about prenuptial agreements does not necessarily in and of itself represent the death knell of a relationship. Rather, a prenuptial agreement can and should represent practical solutions to dealing with the problematic topic of finances in a marriage. If you're in a serious relationship and are thinking that a prenup would be appropriate, don't assume that you and your sweetheart are on the same page. Instead, bring up the subject and put the issue out on the table. I realize this isn't easy to do. It's tough to talk about your loving, committed relationship as if it were a business arrangement. But having this discussion in a calm and logical fashion will tell you much about your future together. It will prepare you to calmly discuss other thorny issues that may present themselves in the future. Lastly, if you and your intended spouse can agree to be logical about the preparation of a prenup, you'll find the process of negotiating the agreement much easier. Today, more and more younger couples are signing prenuptial marriage agreements before they marry. These are not just couples dealing with financial inequality or situations of significant wealth. These are couples who want to put all their financial cards on the table before they walk down the aisle. The contracts aren't just about protecting individual assets and dividing property in the event of a divorce. More young adults are also using prenups to shield themselves from a partner's debt and to even the field when one spouse shoulders the financial burden early in the marriage. This is especially true in the current poor employment environment. In other words, the signed and notarized prenuptial agreement or contract spells out how a couple will handle the financial aspects of their marriage. I want to reiterate that signing a prenuptial agreement does not mean that a divorce is anticipated. Rather, the couple is facing the realities of life and their financial situation. As such, the prenuptial agreement puts financial expectations out on the table. Although not very romantic, having this honest financial discussion prior to a wedding ceremony can be a very positive experience. Thank you for watching Your Money, Your Life. My name is Attorney Ramsey Bahrawy, Building Your Trust.